I think that's a good time to start the show.
Yeah, sounds good. Yo, you bring the heat, okay?
Not to your
Just
phone.
saying. Not right now.
Go.
I'm not Tom and I'm not Dave. I'm Elijah and I'm hyped for episode 65 of the Prodigal Sons. It's Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Did we start promptly? I think we started promptly. Did we start early? We started promptly. Very rarely do we start on time, folks, but we started on time today. So since we started on time, we're going to go in this normal fashion and introduce everybody. To my left is Shawn. He is just bringing the fire and the energy. I feel it. To my immediate right, Crystal.
Hey y'all, how you doing?
It's like Tom, but better.
Less annoying.
For sure.
Same height.
Same height.
I think you got a mind ninja too. To my far right, Mr. Dave Duncan.
What's up?
What's up? I like that. What's up? And we always have the best producer,
Aww. Ayo.
Sarah.
Hello, everyone.
Wow, somebody is prepared. You guys are in for a treat. We have our assistant producer, mic'd and headphones on. And that is Little E.
We might hear him. That's true.
Is that natural
First time he's ever been heard.
No, not the first time.
No?
Not the first time. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today. We have a sponsor. This sponsor has been very generous. Do you know who the sponsor is?
Yep. Tonight's episode is brought to you by soap. You should use some today, and it's not just for washing out Shawn's mouth.
Ding! You're supposed to smile at me.
It does get a lot of use for that.
I know. You were so confused as a child, weren't you? You're like, I feel like...
I thought that's just what I was supposed to eat all the time.
Which one tastes the best?
Dawn.
Done.
Oh my gosh. Well, everybody, today's episode, and I don't have my glasses.
Oh, he can't see without his glasses.
You're supposed to say it louder. I set you up for that. Like you were supposed to say it a little
I'm sorry, try it again.
But oh man, I got my notes, guys, and I really can't see. I need my.
He can't see without his glasses.
Dave, come on. Come on. Well, I want to let you guys know what we're talking about tonight. Tonight, we're talking about what real worship music is and how we can focus on God in this clickbait worship music world. Which is why today we will be beginning our new series.
What's the name of the series?
Really want to know?
I do.
Who wants to know?
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
Me!
Oh.
No.
Well, that's disappointing.
Very? All right. Well, let's go with American Cheese Christians.
American Cheese Christians.
Is that because they're processed?
Ooh, here you
Or
see.
salty.
Better than Tom being here.
I gotta say, for the Prodigal Sons, that was all our producer Sarah and Crystal. American Cheese Christians. We're processed and we're cheesy.
I like being cheesy. I like being cheesy, and it's cool. But before we get going any further, we want you guys to request. We got a studio audience again. Like our audience just keeps
Do
growing.
we prepare the cards?
And growing. The cue cards?
Yeah.
No, we don't need them.
We're going to
Crystal.
have to do the sign says laugh and clap.
Yeah.
And they won't do any of them.
Which is
Yeah.
fine.
They won't do any of them.
So American Cheese Christians, actually that leads me into where Tom is.
Oh, which is Tom.
Well, we sent Tom out into the field to do some research for our new episodes, our new series. Thank you. I can't see without my brain cells. For our new series, American Cheese Christians, we sent him out to Wisconsin to do some cheese research. All we know is he went into a dairy farm on Saturday, and he hasn't been heard from or seen since.
Sure, he's not lost in the swamp.
I'm not sure what's going on.
That's utterly ridiculous.
Isn't it? I don't know if that's they can't see him over the cows or.
We caught that.
Do we find 1% of him, or like 2%, or the whole thing?
If full.
Okay.
But he was never a whole size.
I believe
Yeah.
it's only 5%.
They
think
just skim him out of there?
Yeah, he's reduced.
Skim him
He's
out.
reduced fat.
What's the process called where they?
Pasteurization?
Yeah, he's being
He is being
pasteurized.
pasteurized.
We are cheesy
Does that mean he's going to come back smaller?
I don't think it
Depends, unless he's a curd.
Okay. Well, he has been called something similar. Hey, before we go crazy into this episode, I do want to give, we don't normally do this, but I really feel like we should do it. We should start this episode off right. We've been praying for Lois Duncan, and she just had a really pretty amazing surgery that she went through. The doctors were really expecting a whole lot of cancerous tumors when they went in there, and pretty miraculous situation where she ended up, the doctors, when they went in, they couldn't even find what they were looking for. So, I mean, that's just been an answer to the prayer we've been praying for the last couple of weeks. So just wanted to start out that way.
That's awesome.
So we're praying for you, Lois. She's out there. She's listening to us right now. So
We love you, Lois.
We definitely do.
And I'm sure Tom does too, or something.
Yeah. However, milk can love.
In whatever way
Yeah.
milk can love.
For a short time.
Yes.
And I would like to say that the rant segment is coming back hot and heavy next week.
Ooh.
I got a rant. It's fired up. It's locked. It's loaded. I need the subject of said rant to be here. And Mr. Thomas is not here tonight, but next week.
He's only gone for a short period.
Yeah, if he comes back, I got a rant locked and loaded for that man.
It's like a mini vacation.
Did they take a minivan there?
Yeah.
Did you hear? I know this is not in our notes, but did you hear what Tom did 2 weeks ago in service?
Yes.
Did you hear about the other thing Tom did in service? I'm not talking about him screaming and dropping the mic. That's not what I'm talking about.
Did he pay for that mic, by the way?
No, he didn't. That might be why he went on the run.
He was a little short on cash.
Nicely done. This is why we brought Crystal. I don't know if she has any content, but she has a lot of puns.
No content.
We'll find out. I'm pretty sure she has content. So, Mr. Tomas apparently walked up to a gentleman in church who was sitting in a pew.
Did he challenge him to a duel?
No, why would he do that? He walked up to a gentleman in a pew who he thought was Clark Gregory. The person was not Clark Gregory. Clark Gregory is a senior. Senior. He's a senior. He's
Super senior?
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
Yep, with your senior.
He's
Yeah.
vintage.
And Tom, I guess, because is it ageist? Is that a
I
thing?
think it. Yeah.
What's racist but for ages?
Ages.
Ageist? He walked up to somebody who is significantly younger than Clark Gregory and started talking to him as if he was Clark Gregory. And the person was very, very confused because he didn't know what Tom was talking about. And Tom kept asking him these questions over and over, and the man just smiled at him, nodding away because he had no idea what Tom was talking about.
Kind of like a foreigner who didn't know what was saying. Like,
Right. So but then Tom's leaving church and he gets a message from somebody about Clark Gregory still being in the hospital. And so Tom called me thinking he was talking to an angel. Because he was like, I was talking to somebody, but I have no idea. Like, I don't even think they were there because they were acting like they didn't hear me. And then I found out, I was talking to Clark and I thought he was there, but then I found out that he was in the hospital and he wasn't even there. And then he talked to Sarah and Dan and found out it was some other guy.
Why wouldn't you guys just let him go?
We should have just let him
Why
go.
wouldn't you just let that keep going?
We could have turned that into a whole episode.
Dude, I did not get the memo.
So yeah, he basically gave somebody like 20 more years of life. And Clark Gregory is significantly shorter than the guy who was talking to.
But everybody looks tall.
So he gave him
That is
years,
true.
He gave him years and a knee job.
Yeah, he did. And so how gracious was I don't want to say his name, I don't want to embarrass him, but how gracious is the other guy who just went with it? Just like, yeah, whatever.
He needs to talk.
I would
talk.
He probably thought he was being a good Christian. And you know what? Unload, son.
Yeah. No, he was probably like, I heard this guy was crazy. I didn't realize he was this crazy.
Was that the week that he preached?
Yes.
Yeah, the guy was like, I'm not. I saw him up there screaming.
He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not.
I don't
Which
wanna
is
get
weird.
hit with a microphone.
I haven't seen the guy since then. He turned in his membership card. He just threw his membership card in the offering plate. So I don't know what that's about.
Well, gosh, Jenkins.
So anyway, pray for Tom. He's going through a hard pasteurization process, and he's losing his mind, and he doesn't know who people are. So
Short-term memory problems.
He's a little lost.
There is a little note in here that says, "Crystal, how has school been?"
I just finished my midterms, so pretty good.
Ooh.
What are you studying?
Guitar.
Ooh.
Well, the actual like
Not
name
Guitar
of
Hero.
the. Oh, that's where I started. He's like, "Do you have any experience?" I was like, "I have a lot of experience with Guitar Hero."
And he said, it's nothing like that.
He said, "I had a bass player in my church that learned how to play guitar using Guitar Hero."
What?
I mean,
I
it's
said,
bass.
"Oh, well, it's bass." Yeah.
He learned how to play bass using Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's taking notes.
Are we in trouble again?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Great.
I didn't know Tom's mom was listening.
Well, you could have paid attention.
I said hello earlier.
Come on, you gotta read that.
Ben says, the full verse is, you have entertained angels unawares, but sometimes it was just an older child.
That must have come out of Pete's Bible.
Anyway, if you guys play a game, you guys want to play a game?
We can play a game.
Oh,
Come
we
on.
Got
only
anything
have a
else?
short period of time now.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not short.
It's getting
short.
shorter by the day.
5 seconds.
Yep.
Okay. I have so much trouble. Like, I'm going to be in church like...
We've played this game.
Dungeon.
We've played this game a couple of times, but I think Crystal's gonna like this game up.
I don't know about
I
that.
don't know. I'm pretty sure Sarah went through these cards and gave me ones that just pertain to my life.
Is it just like every other one's like
Yep, I definitely have the mental capacity for that.
hitting people with a brick?
It is.
One says brick, one says bat, one says ball,
One says
one
Pen-
says car,
one says Penske truck,
But it is.
but it says cat.
one says double up.
It's written in. It just says cow. It's just a blank piece of paper. This is the one of the cards.
Okay.
Hey, am I playing with a short deck or what?
Oh, well, I think we all get the same amount of cards except for
7 or 5.
Tom's seat. That's
Oh,
no
it's
one's-
it's neither. We aren't drawing new cards, so I gave you extra.
Yeah, you can just pick from whatever.
And also, I want a funny game, so I gave you a lot more extra.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. Okay, get familiar with your cards. We're going to start out with an easy one. So, as you guys remember, this is Mad Libs, but joking about Christian stuff.
American cheese, though.
Blank is what irritates me the most about church. If you have the pastor is yelling about Jesus, you win.
I can't say
You can say something.
Can you please repeat the question?
I can turn it down if you want, Jonathan.
What did you say?
Blank is what irritates me the most about church.
Pews are what irritates me the most about church.
Nice, classic.
Making good choices.
Ooh. Come on, Shawn, you are playing to win.
Oh,
We don't
Yep,
keep secrets.
do it.
We don't keep secrets.
Circumcision.
you got to read the whole sentence.
You put it in his list.
I remember. I can't
What was the question?
Circumcision is what irritates me the most about church.
Well, especially when they do it right there in the church service. I mean, do we
Just
have
don't
to
do
do?
their
It's like-
communion.
it's like
You don't want
it's like
anything
opposite week
ending
of
up in the
baptism.
cups.
Yeah, they do the baptism service first, and then they do the circumcision service, so that the pool gets it can get cleaned out after.
Oh no, you do it first. You do the circumcision first, and you have the saltwater baptism to help with the healing process.
Wow, that got dark.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, Elijah, line it up.
All right, you gotta say it again. I'm sorry.
Blank is what irritates me the most about church.
When Elijah doesn't answer.
Hoping my celebrity crush knows Jesus.
Oh wow. Okay.
Irritates?
Justin Bieber.
I think Crystal wins. I just don't remember what she put.
Yep,
I
she's a
put
female. She
making
won.
good choices.
Making good choices is what irritates me the
That is
most
pretty
about
annoying about
church.
church.
Okay, here we go. You ready? You ready for the hard-hitting questions?
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between a Pentecostal and a Baptist?
The difference between a Pentecostal and a Baptist, toxic relationships.
I thought you were going to go circumcision again.
It's a one and done kind of thing.
Baptist, Johnson, the baptism. Pentecostal wipes and clean.
You guys did.
I heard you. Elijah, you're up.
Oh, you said what's the difference between a what?
A Pentecostal and a Baptist.
Turning the other cheek to gluttony with the scrumptious potluck. I need my glasses.
Yes.
Crystal, you got to go because I'm going to save mine for the last.
Alright. Exorcisms.
Well, that came out all right, Bill.
You said Pentecostal and Baptist, right?
Pentecostal and
You have
Baptist.
to use the cards, Dave.
Yeah. You can't just make them up on the spot.
He's like,
I thought about it.
he's like, took a pen and
Yeah, I know, right?
I have two really good ones. I'm going to ask Crystal which one she wants me to read.
That was pretty funny.
Not exercising is the difference between Pentecostals and Baptists.
So I always make the joke that the difference between denominations is who gets the Olive Garden first. So Elijah won that.
Nice.
Cracker Barrel, not Olive Garden. Just saying.
Yeah, biscuits. Both. Yeah.
Okay. Next. Blank is my favorite Christian pastime.
exercising my free will poorly.
Dude, you guys gotta beat that.
Having a spirit of fear is my favorite Christian pastime. Oh, I should have used this
Plagues are my favorite Christian.
What? That's a shame. That's like 10 and 1.
Pharaoh is scared.
The funny part,
10 and 1.
This is a true one. Accidentally cussing.
I should have said stealing from the
Oh
offering.
man, that's really hard.
I had stealing from the offering. I should have done that one.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Shawn wins. That was really close to home.
What was yours, Elijah?
Exercising my free will poorly.
Oh, right. Okay. That was pretty good too.
Okay. In today's episode of VeggieTales, Larry the Cucumber wrestles with...
My mom referring to my Xbox as a golden calf.
I'm laughing too hard.
Alternative Halloween church activities.
Oh.
Larry the Cucumber?
Larry the Cucumber wrestling.
In today's episode of VeggieTales, Larry the Cucumber wrestles with Elevation Church.
Oh.
Okay. I don't have a good one. So I'm going to say, in today's episode of VeggieTales, what's his name, Larry?
Larry.
Larry the Cucumber wrestles with big emotions.
That's an actual episode.
Yeah, that's an actual episode. Crystal wins, but I'm sorry, my friend. Did you just forget Larry's name?
Never watched VeggieTales.
His name's
Oh.
Phil.
I watch it while I walk on the treadmill.
Honey.
I've never watched VeggieTales.
Okay, so Friday
Never seen
night.
Hercules.
Friday night,
It's the same
VeggieTales, my house. Everyone's invited.
Let's get one or two more.
Okay. Come on, even Jesus is getting tired of, like...
Being allowed to play Kanye West at church.
Not being allowed to read Harry Potter.
Blaming the coronavirus on the opposing political party. Mic drop.
I did, yeah.
Come on, even Jesus is getting tired of over-spiritualizing everything.
Burn.
Oh... That
I won
is
that
so
one, sorry.
hard. I think Elijah won
Just
that
gonna
one,
say,
though.
I just couldn't.
Okay, final one. Oh, actually, we're doing two.
Good.
Okay. The secret to financial freedom is...
Stealing from the offering.
There's another close to home one. Being single against my will.
There's some depth to that one.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of layers to that.
What was that question again?
The secret to financial freedom is...
Pastors who call themselves apostles, bishops, and prophets.
Lying to your accountability partner.
That's good.
Shawn wins. And Elijah, you can borrow Shawn's.
You know what? I was gonna quick copy that. I was gonna take a picture of it and then hold it up.
Okay,
What
final
was it
one.
again? Being single.
Being single against my
Okay, final one. Our church's Wi-Fi password is blank. All lowercase, no spaces.
Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Your church Wi-Fi password
Yeah.
is nervously wondering if I committed the unforgivable sin.
My church's Wi-Fi password is Netflix.
Church's network password is persuasive snakes.
Oh, you're
All lowercase?
Pentecostal, huh?
Okay. Crystal and Shawn are tied.
All right, let's go. I have a really good one. So go
Okay.
Oh, I just put my cards away.
Yeah,
All right, get
I
them
know,
out.
Alright.
I'm gonna use it no matter what it is. 'Cause I like it.
Alright.
Okay. Welcome to Bethel Church. It's like regular church, but with...
The spiritual gift of criticism.
Welcome to Bethel Church. It's like regular church, but with drama.
Oh.
It's like regular church, but sneaking out during the altar call.
Oh, that is so good!
What was that on Sunday?
Ooh,
What was it? What was it?
Gotta pass out on that one.
Welcome to Bethel Church. It's like regular church, but with...
Or with-
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the second one.
That one?
No, the second one. You got it.
All right, welcome to Bethel Church.
It's like regular church.
It's like regular church,
But-
but with Donald Trump's Twitter account.
Oh! Burn. Oh.
Crystal wins.
How did everybody go, oh? You stop.
Because you said the DT, man.
Oh my goodness.
First of all, I've never heard you say that before.
I know I always said 45.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is weird, which doesn't give any inclination to your leanings at all. It was respectful the way you said 45.
Thank you.
But anyway, what are we talking about
It got
today?
hot in here real quick.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, as soon as you mentioned Donald Trump, they're gonna really
Well, temperature of the room.
Where'd that pitchfork come from? Oh, no.
Crystal,
You rang?
are we selling out in our worship today?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on this episode. That's all we needed to know.
I'll take transitions for 400.
Terrible transition for 400.
What
was a
is
good turn.
terrible? Yeah.
Wait, you don't sound like Aaron Rodgers.
Terrible.
The Bible verse for today is John 4:23 and 24. Yet a time is coming, and has now come, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in truth, for they are the kind of worshipers the Father seeks. God is Spirit, and His worshipers must worship in the Spirit and in truth. Today we're going to take a in-depth look into what is worship music versus what is feel-good music. And I don't know if you're like me, but for me there's a fine line of me sounding like an arrogant, insert your word here, and trying to make sure that we are contemplating what true worship is. So I want to make sure, first of all, like that we're not, stop me if I'm trying to be too nitpicky or anything like that, but basically we're in this American Cheese Christian series that we're doing. We want to kind of point out, like, we've been kind of focusing on and going round and round these things for the last few months in our episodes, but like, why are American Christians specifically looked at as phony and cheesy and corny and fake? And we know we've talked about movies, we've talked about certain types of media. Today we're going to be talking about like worship music and what other people think of, especially what do people see when they see us worshiping? Do they see a real experience going on, or do they see some processed, cheesy thing going on? So, I have a lot to say about it. I don't want to hog the mic. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? And by the way, Crystal, I know you guys know her. We didn't really introduce her because she's been here so many times. She's one of the worship leaders at our church. So, always good to have you here, and wanted to get your input on this.
Well, that's actually one of the things that I'm going to school for is worship leading. And so I've been kind of submerged into reading a lot of different articles and trying to get a lot of different viewpoints and seeing a lot of the articles that show, is it just an emotion, or are we truly worshiping God, and like, what are we looking at? And so I'm trying to make sure that what we do here and is not just singing up there because we have talent or not talent or anything like that, but if you're not involved in the worship and you're just singing the words, you're not worshiping.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And Elijah just caught me looking at my watch. It's just because Sarah and I were talking about, like, I have no idea. We have so much content we want to get in tonight. And I have no idea where it's going to end up, how long we're going to go, or what. We're going to try to get it in a normal amount of time, but we're not going to, like, cut corners and stuff like that. We're just going to get to the meat of it. But, I mean, I so agree with you. Like, I used to think, you know, in the processed factory that I came out of, which is the American Evangelical Church, that, like, you know, the better your singer was, the better your worship experience was. You know, the better the drummer is, the louder the drummer is, the louder the guitar is, like, the better the rock show, you know, the more God can hear your worship. But I really think this comes into, like, what we've been talking about with pride and stuff like that, is, like, God's like, you know when I learned this, I will tell you, Elijah talked about this last week, my mom, Lois Duncan. You know, when she had a stroke a little over 10 years ago, she lost the ability to sing. I think we talked about that when she was here. And she still stands up, arms spread wide, and sings as loud as she can. And she will tell you, do not stand in front of me. I can't sing anymore. But it doesn't stop her. And when I saw her still doing that in worship, it was like a light bulb went off. God listens to that, and that's pretty music to God. And some of these rock bands that, you know, that perform on Sunday, God doesn't even hear them. You know, and so we got to make sure, like, that we are. I want to be really careful not to, like, critique people's worship and the way that they do it, but you got to understand what is music to us may not be music to God. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys think? Wow, really? That's good point. It's from the heart. It's from the heart. I applaud you for doing that.
You have to clear his throat.
We don't have golf buttons yet. Just hold it.
I can't.
All right, what do you got?
It's so many different ways to attack this. But when you opened up and you said, you know, how people perceive us, like, in worship, when we're singing, and you know, I've been in, before I was, like, open about my faith, and you know, I would be in conversations and I would hear people, oh, they're phony, oh, they're just, oh, they're fake, they're like this, there. Then when they leave the church, they're this. I see them doing that. And you know, when I would listen to that, like, I would actually entertain it, because there are things that you see. But since coming here, we know that not every church is perfect, and not everybody is perfect. So people are allowed to make mistakes. So when we sing, like, I think our praise team is amazing. I'll put them up against any praise team. You can put them up against Kurt Franklin and them, and I think we'll still be better. But it's not how you guys sound when you sing. It's always the words that are being said. It's always the word, because you guys will sing, you guys will have songs, and there's sometimes everybody might not be in sync, but the words that are being said is what moves me. So it's not necessarily, you know, like you said, the loudest drummer, the loudest voice, the best voice in the, you know, on that stage is what's being said. So that's, you know.
Shawn, what do you think the difference is between a real worship song and a feel-good song?
It's tough to define. But for me, personally, my own personal opinion, it should touch me somewhere in my soul. Like, I should feel convicted at the end of it. If I don't feel convicted, I'm not listening to worship. I'm listening to a song that makes me feel good, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you're trying to truly worship, something should be deep within you, should be, whether it's, okay, God's called me to do this, and now I need to move in that direction, or I shouldn't be living this way anymore, or is there more, you know, you should have some kind of emotion. There should be a reason. You should feel an urge to move forward. Just like you should every Sunday at church. So you should be able to take that and move forward with it, and bring that out to the world, because that's our job as Christians, to bring out the good news. So I don't think there's necessarily a problem with feel-good music. I think you have to be careful in what you call worship and what you call, you know, in what's actually feel-good music. I listen to the Christian radio station every day in my car. I do a lot of driving, and I have Sirius XM, the message on at all times. And there's a ton of songs on there that I'm like, yeah, and I get into, and it's got a great beat, and the words sound nice, and it's, but I don't think I'm being saved with those songs. No. But it makes the time go by faster in the car. Yeah. But I can tell you right now, anytime Casting Crowns comes on,
That's a
I
spot
have
for
to
you.
pull over because like I feel like I'm doing something wrong in my life.
Yeah.
After I listen to Casting Crowns song.
So that's one of the things that we were talking about before, and Sarah, our producer, made a great point about the. Why am I saying producer? I don't need to say it anymore. And everybody knows who Sarah
At
is.
this point.
Sarah made a great point. She said, if you want to get to an emotional state in a song, you can listen to Simon and Garfunkel. Like, I mean, just because a song can bring you to an emotion doesn't mean it's a worship song. And I think that's what a lot of our Christian brothers and sisters have done is they've just gotten to a point where if a song can move you in any way, we call it a worship song. And so it's just part of like the entertainment. Like you show up to church, okay, we're going to hear 15 minutes of music, and it's going to make me feel good and make me feel. I get all the feels inside. I get the warm and fuzzies. And okay, we're going to listen to this 20-minute sermon, and it's football time, right? I mean, that's just like it doesn't. Not yet. It almost does.
It's not such a.
Just saying. But
I'm sorry.
The coaches are still like getting teams ready for preseason. Yeah, got it crossed off. That's when I'm going to be gone. Every Sunday. I got work trips. Work trips coming up. No, but when we bring ourselves into that cattle chute of like the Christian sermon, the worship service process. And you get there and you go, I'm just going to listen to 15 minutes of music. I might shed a tear. I'll feel good. I feel like a lot of us go into that, and we, Sarah disagreed with me on this, but I think a lot of us go in there and we switch our brains off. We're like, okay, we're just going to go through this process. We're going to shut our brains off, and we're just going to, just go with the emotions. But I really think that worship is deeper than that. It's all of us.
It's not a lemming if you're really worshiping.
Yeah, and like that's what Shawn was saying about. There's a lot of music on the Christian radio station that's wholesome, doesn't curse. Whatever, but there's a lot of bands on there who aren't Christian at all. They're not trying to do anything other than find a little bit of an easier target audience to get their music sold to.
Right. I mean, I think, in my opinion, certain songs, like worship songs versus, what we say, media or feel good song. Mm-hmm. I think certain songs have to connect with people in a different way. Meaning a feel-good song or a song that moves you to emotion, like you said, Simon and Garfunkel, if you want to, get emotional. Like for me, that song "See You Again," like that with Charlie Puth, like it automatically makes me think of like my mom and now my dad and anybody that's not here, and it always gets me emotional. But it's a different kind of emotion when I hear like "Now Behold the Lamb," mm-hmm. because it's not upbeat, it's not fast, it's not just those words. Like even when I broke your heart, it was my sins that tore us apart. Like that puts you in a spiritual mind frame it puts me mm-hmm. in a spiritual mind frame to where it's like I gotta listen. Like I can't. Like that's a song that I can't pause.
I can't listen to passively. I will be in that. Yeah,
exactly. It's like no matter what I'm doing, like the shower could be scalding hot, and I have like I'm just gonna cook until it's over. Just ding. All right. Okay. Like that.
Well, it's funny because Crystal mentioned earlier that song and "Angel" by Sarah McLachlan, which is funny because as I was thinking about it, that's one of the songs my parents would let me listen to when I was a kid because it was about angels, right?
But it's not.
But what's it about, Crystal?
Nothing good.
What?
The producer said I'm not allowed to say it.
That's not the song with the sad puppies or anything.
Yeah, that's the song that makes you save sad puppies.
And everything else.
Is that the song
it's
for
like
that commercial?
Take My Money commercial, yeah.
But apparently it's not really about angels. But because it had the word angel in it, I was allowed to listen to it as a kid because I was in the cheese factory.
Being processed.
Yeah, being processed.
You can say it's about drugs.
It was about drugs. The song is about drugs. But that's like, one of my favorite bands is Need to Breathe. If you guys have ever heard of them.
I know who they are.
It's like an alternative kind of Southern gospel rock group. And, they're under the Christian genre. Yeah, they're under the Christian genre. And it took me a while to realize, like, I used to listen to them, like, this is my favorite Christian band. Not really Christian music. Good music. They're not cursing. But, when every fifth song you vaguely mention the Holy Spirit or like a spiritual event, vaguely, just enough that Christians are like, oh yeah, that's a Christian song, and non-Christians are like, I don't know what he's talking about.
It's just enough to spread you across multiple genres.
Yeah.
So when people look you up, hey, hey, there's Christian, there's rock. It puts you all in one, gives you more spins.
I know with Skillet. Like I was a Skillet fan for years before I was a Christian. I didn't even know they were a Christian band.
Cast Iron?
Yes. But I went to go see. I saw they were coming to Reading, and they were playing at Winter Jam. I didn't know what Winter Jam was, so I decided to go. And then I'm like, who are all these people? Why are they singing to Jesus? And I had just become a Christian, so it was all brand new to me. But that's when I realized that Skillet goes on to that. Now I love Skillet. I love their music, and I do think some of it does have that feel good. It does have the message, but for the most part, they're just a rock band that got a record label by saying they're Christian. Because some of their songs I wouldn't label as necessarily a Christian base. I don't think they do anything deliberately to try and drive you away.
Right.
But I wouldn't say that
they're not trying to disciple either.
Yeah, they're not trying to help you get your relationship closer to the Lord, just to make money.
Which, by the way, I mean, if that's their job and they just want to do it as like a passive job and they haven't been called to be a worship leader, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying stop treating it like it's your worship time.
Right.
You know, it's just like the, I'm not trying to criticize anybody for what they like. I mean, you're allowed to like different things. You're allowed to watch, Will Ferrell movies. But don't call it a worship service while you're doing it.
I mean, just because he has the voice of Fergie and Jesus does not make it.
So actually, to your point though, Shawn, I found an article, I didn't send it to you guys because it's pretty long, but it was written by a rock group, a Christian rock group that was touring, and they said they could not believe, they opened for a lot of the big acts, the big Christian rock bands. And they said there was just as much drugs and sexual activity and all that stuff going on before the shows and after the shows as there would be if they were at an Aerosmith concert. It was just that they were selling stuff to people who were willing to buy it. But this is the one article that we did kind of look at together, is the 5 bad ideas that will make your church service fake. And I want to read it just because it's pretty quick. We've all been there. Everything may sound fantastic, look attractive, and was planned with purposeful intent, but something just doesn't seem right. You feel fake vibes when hoping for authentic ones. Regardless, what makes a worship service fake might be boiled down to a few things, even though there may be many things we can put on the list. Here are 5 ideas that promote the fake factor in church worship services. This was written by Rich Kirkpatrick, by the way. The fake factor 5. Number 1, the worship team is performing like they are in a stadium and only 200 people are in the worship center. This just means that overscaling your team's sound and presentation might not be helping you. The energy put into production shouldn't outweigh the value of building relationships with the people in the congregation you serve. Your haze machine cannot fill that gap. How's the haze machine working in our church? Is it good? Why not? You probably get one on Amazon for like $50.
Haze machine is like a lunk alarm at Planet Fitness. You don't need it.
If you didn't get that, you pay way too much to go to your gym.
Fair.
But yeah, like we try to make it, a rock show. Like, I mean, and I again don't want to sound like a jerk and say that you can't do all, but I mean, do you really need that to talk to God? I love especially this last week, the worship service was awesome, guys. And it was like, I was actually running the video, and at one point I just switched the camera off. And I just left the audio going, with the slide, because I was just like, this is just a holy moment right here, and I don't want to broadcast this. It's just, this is for the people. God is in this room, and I didn't feel like with what was going on me. But I mean, you have those real, authentic moments when you don't try to treat it like a performance. Anyway,
That's John's comment real quick.
Yep, what do you got?
So John said, the main reason I started leading the music away from hymns a few years ago was looking out over the congregation while leading. The people were numb. When we changed up the music, people actually started, and that sounds good.
Sorry.
Changed the music. People
We should have
actually began to
ad-libbed
worship as they sang. Just made up John's words. John, I appreciate you commenting on that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing in some newer worship songs to add to the old hymns.
I think Gary in our church does an awesome job with
He's
mixing
phenomenal.
and blending.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that John realized that over time, the straight hymns, were maybe becoming a little stale to some of the newer folks. And you have to adapt. I mean, we're just in a world where you have to adapt to the climate. But you still have to have a good balance. And I think we do. And I think this Sunday proved that we had an amazing balance of music this week. I think that was...
I think if you're genuine, you can do rap music in an all-white senior church.
Mm-hmm.
If it's genuine.
Yeah.
But if it's fake, you can't get away with that stuff. But it's when it's genuine worship with genuine worshipers. I think that's what matters.
The difference is the heart of the worshiper. Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sister Act. I will follow.
Actually, when you just said it, the heart of worship, that's actually, even though it's been sung a million times, that's one of my favorites, is the song, The Heart of Worship, because that's what this whole thing is about. I'm coming back to the heart of worship. It's about you, God. It's about you.
It's about the best commandment.
Yeah.
Love your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind.
That's my favorite.
And we could be to the point where that song isn't stale anymore.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. Let me finish this. Number 2, there is no context of God's character, just our experience. We can sing a "We worship you" all we want, but who is you? Mm-hmm. A fuzzy God who just makes us feel fuzzy, or an all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving God who is jealous of us loving anything or anyone more than him? Do we go for a God or girlfriend emotion, or promote confession and celebration? Basically, I guess they're saying if you could just switch the God word with your girlfriend and like...
Don't friend zone Jesus.
Is that not a good idea to friend zone?
Probably not.
Okay. I don't think...
Yeah, I don't think you should. That's 100% commitment right there.
Yeah. It's not a new phone who dis?
Good one. It's not, oh, I got a new phone, I don't have your number right here. No, it's like, always programmed,
it's
always
ice
there.
in case of emergency.
There you go.
Yeah.
Number 3 was you do the latest song or idea just because it's the latest song or idea. Content is king in worship, not the buzz of the newest thing. We should be building a local community of worshipers, not simply echoing what the others are doing. What is the voice of the prayers and songs of your own people? That's like, how do you make it personal to what is going on?
Right, you have to bring the folks in and like make sure they're engaged, because if they just see the worship team, it's just like, you don't want people on their phones while you're worshiping.
And you know what? It's perfect that Crystal is here, because she is one that will not allow you to just look at the words and just stand there and be numb. She's like, come on, move, clap, let's go. Like, all right, Crystal,
So
I feel convicted every time Crystal's up there because she stares at me hard when I'm up there. I'm like,
singing? Get off your phone.
So I was like,
yeah, he's doing...
I'm gonna start doing the Carlton up there.
Oh, yes. As long as it's genuine. As long as it's genuine,
Yes,
Carlton.
if it's genuine worship,
Oh, I will. I'll come out in the middle of the aisle.
Tom will join you.
I told Elijah a couple weeks ago. I said one of these weeks I'm gonna do the John Candy from Blues Brothers. You saw Blues Brothers?
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
yeah,
a great
yeah.
movie.
He does like backflips and cartwheels down the center aisle.
Do it.
James Brown.
Do it.
Talk to Gary about that.
Yeah. See like Gary set me up with something.
You could do
Shawn,
a,
get closer to your mic.
you could do a couple of backflips, then we
Are you
could...
in trouble, dude? I mean, I sound really loud in my headphones.
I hear you fine.
have Gary and Lil E on set.
That's fine. Even if we don't hear you, we know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's coming through.
It's all from the heart of worship.
What? If you did a couple of backflips in the service, then we could pray over you and have a healing. Have a healing.
Ground, like laying down.
Have a healing ceremony.
They have to call 911, get an ambulance.
Worship team members are there more for their talent or to play music and not for their spiritual growth. Sure, hire the best people to make the music pop, but is that your goal? The story of the messengers or artists on stage is important. They are not just tools. They are real people you put up there. Hire people, by the way, but treat them like, people. We had this in one of the churches I went to in the past. They were talking about bringing people in to play music, and it was like they needed a couple of instrumental roles filled, and they were like, well, whatever, that person plays guitar really well, just let them play. And it's just like, okay, that's not, where I want to spend, that's not my church. If it doesn't matter who the person is who's like leading the worship, then, we're going to have an issue.
Yeah, and if the person is genuine, if they are off key a little bit, we need to add them anyway, because their heart is what's going to cause the worship to change, just like you said. So, I always tell people when they're like, oh, so-and-so shouldn't sing up front. And I say, well, imagine what God hears.
Yeah, I love when so-and-so sings up front. We're talking about the same so-and-so.
I don't know, I've multiple.
Well, there's one that I can
over the years.
I love when he's up there.
Tom?
Because
I know exactly.
It's
I
I stand across the aisle from Tom.
Tom's a good singer.
I wish I had a volume. control for Tom.
I mean, he shouts and screams and squeals a lot, but it's
Mom's
like,
watching.
oh, sorry.
Tom should sing more though.
He should. He does, because he's another one.
He's like the first. He sings like my first card.
That's what I mean. Yeah, there's a few people I try to like really kind of focus on when I'm up there, just like because it kind of makes like it kind of shows me that like we're on the right track.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lois is one of them.
Yeah.
Tom is another. Lori Faust when she's there. Just different folks. Usually you're hiding, so sorry.
He sits down there and worship.
No.
You were like
He was convicted real fast too. Spirit leading. I was like, no, I don't. What's
So you're usually kind of helping out, so like.
Yeah, usually it's still.
You move.
I'm in the back. I'm just
Yeah.
like being in the back.
Yeah, that's it's all good. But
And
yeah,
it's in the
so
back just doing.
Doing this. That's great for radio. Just swaying back and
Yeah,
forth.
no.
Yep.
Sometimes I forget that we're not just a video.
I'm like balling pieces of paper. I'm throwing them at Dave while he's working them for it.
So, and number 5 in this article was the goal for the congregation is a feeling, not just the. I'm sorry. The goal for the congregation is a feeling, not a transformation. I am all for emotive expressions of worship. It's just that the goal is that we are formed into the image of Jesus a bit more by all that we do in worship and life. So to reduce the outcome to sentiment is just a bad idea, period. Do we expect a religious or spiritual encounter to actually change us? So that's like what we're talking about is when we get to a point where the worship service is changing us. It's speaking into our lives because it's not the music, it's not the words, it's the Holy Spirit in that place. And we can't do that just by organizing a fog machine and, a loud drummer and a great guitarist.
yeah, I posted something today that worship shouldn't be a decision. We shouldn't decide whether or not we want to worship God. It should be automatic. It should be a habit. It's not, I woke up. It's just, I go read my Bible. I go sing to God. I do this. Do or do not. There is no try.
It all comes back to...
Yup. Mm-hmm. I was listening.
All comes back to you.
Listen, I did. I beat you to it, Crystal.
And I think, Sarah, what do you think? Is it time for your song lyrics? We're gonna compare a couple of songs.
Yeah, I wanna give a story to this. So imagine baby Sarah, pastor's kid.
Baby Sarah. How old was baby Sarah?
Baby Sarah was about 12.
12-year-old baby Sarah.
12-year-old baby Sarah. Okay, and I am at a teen camp, kids camp, I've been to a lot of these. I'm very used to the kids camp rush, the teen camp rush. And we're singing worship songs, and it's great, and we're in that moment, that worship moment, and a few people are raising their hands, and people are rolling their eyes, a few people are sitting down and crying because teen camp is emotional. And we're singing this new song. And I remember vividly when this song came out because we're all singing and it goes, so heaven meets earth like a sloppy wet kiss.
Just like it did in Ephesians 4.
And my heart turns violently inside of my chest.
Love it.
Worship feeling gone.
Worship feeling gone. 12-year-olds very confused. Most of us don't know what a sloppy wet kiss is. We're very confused.
It's a dog.
It's a dog. Okay. God is a dog.
Heaven meets earth like a dog.
Dog
licking
kissing
your
you,
face.
yeah, basically.
Could be a meteor. Could be the feeling of Jesus.
That's the same song that You're a Hurricane, I Am a Tree.
Yeah, you're a hurricane, I am a tree, which is very dangerous.
I'm saying, I'd be scared.
So that's my favorite example of what happens to this worship song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I had one here too. This is a I call it the Garth Brooks Christian songs.
Okay.
When you justify the fact that you listen to the secular artist who's selling secular music to the secular world and calling it your time of worship. I could listen to that guy because he says that he prays in the chorus of that song. This is Garth Brooks saying, sometimes he's singing a song about his wife. And he says, sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers, remember when you're talking to the man upstairs that just because he doesn't answer doesn't mean he don't care. Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. That just hits me right in the side of the head every time. Like a brick every time. No, it's just like, I'm just so like tired of like the formulaic worship. I think we need to, the point I'm getting at, I was thinking about this earlier. I don't know if you guys were wondering what the notes meant. I think worship music needs to be more like Indian food and less like aspartame.
Why?
Thank you for asking. I didn't think anybody would ask me that.
I read the notes.
So I have recently discovered that I really, really like Indian food.
It's delicious.
Right? Shawn, try it.
Oh yeah, I love Indian food.
Elijah?
Love it.
Don't have to ask Sarah. I know she loves Indian food. You notice the thing about
Thank you for getting us Indian food that day, Sarah. It was great.
I wasn't here that day, so you can get me Indian food anytime you want. You know what's cool about Indian food is that once you consume it, what happens?
You feel warm and fuzzy inside.
You do feel warm and fuzzy. There's a little warm and fuzzy going on. Really happy. But the next day, you can smell it. By the way, I want to make that clear. I love Indian food. I love the smell. I love the aromas, the spices, right? Next day, it's coming out of your pores. Mm-hmm. You can smell what you ate just without the food around anymore. Mm-hmm. It changed you when it went inside of you, and it's coming out of you, right? And I think that's what true worship does, is you have a real worship experience, and you can't hide it. It's coming out of your pores whether you want it to or not. And I say bad worship music is like aspartame. It's fake sugar that tricks your body into thinking that it's real. They've done so many tests. I can't stand aspartame anymore. I used to drink all this diet stuff and eat all this sugar-free stuff, and I can't stand it anymore. It makes me feel sick inside because it tricks your brain. It gives you headaches, all kinds of stuff, because it tells your brain it's sugar and it's sweet. But meanwhile, it's just a chemical. And I think that's what we're getting in our worship, and we're getting in even our media and our movies and our books. Some of the ones that we read is like they put Christian on the label, and we go, oh, that's a real Christian experience, but it's not. A real Christian worship experience comes inside you and changes you, and you will not be the same. If you're walking out of a quote-unquote worship experience and you feel content, you did something wrong. If you're feeling good and patting yourself on the back after a worship experience, like, yes, this is the life that I live and I am satisfied in it and I have done everything right. No, you did something wrong or you were in the wrong place. I think that real worship will come inside of you and convict you, because God doesn't want to ever leave you where he found you. God wants to keep you moving down the road, keep building you, keep changing you, keep letting that experience permeate out of your pores into every person you touch. And by the way, I'm a hypocrite. Like, I know that. Every day there's something hypocritical about me that God is convicting, right? So I'm not perfect about this. And I have failed many, many times and gone down the road of like, oh, I'll listen to this guy or I'll listen to this. This is my worship time. But meanwhile, it's just I like the beat, But real Christian content will never leave you content. How do you like that? All right. That's pretty much all I have. You guys have anything else you want to talk about?
Anybody else? Lyric? Songs? Is that what you were talking about?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. We were totally we have time for that. We got a couple of minutes. We were gonna just share like for like your most real worship song. If you didn't bring it, that's cool. But like if you did think of a lyric that you wanted to share, go nuts.
I said one first, but I got another one. Remember I said the Behold the Lamb.
Yeah, I figured that was a nice way to put that in there.
But no, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I have my glasses. I have to find it. You can go.
Borrow my glasses.
He really can't see without his glasses.
So I have two. One is just a portion of a song, and ironically, it's a Christmas song, and it's called Mystery, and it's by Salah, and it talks about how Jesus came as a man, and he knew that death was going to be the end for him, but he still chose to come, even though it was already predestined. But the bridge in that song says, I am just a man and can't begin to comprehend. When you look into these traitors' eyes, what do you see that justifies the Lamb?
That's cool.
And so it brings you back because, like, I'm the traitor.
Yep.
And I never will get out of that.
That's what I think about every time I hear that song, that you were the traitor.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. And time.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys have some?
All right, I'll go. Now I'm kind of confused a little bit because not only is this song...
Was your favorite song the Sloppy Wet Kiss song?
It was.
I've never heard of that. But it's not only, it doesn't... It makes... It's an upbeat song, but like I said, it's all about the lyrics. And I'll just say like two parts of the lyrics. It's it's from the movie The Gospel and the song Victory. I think I told you already.
Yeah, you told me to watch it.
And one of the verses, she says, it says, "Truly I've been through the storm and rain. I know everything about heartache and pain, but God carried me through it all. Without his protection, I'd surely fall." True. And for me, that part, and the other part was...
I want to borrow my glasses.
No, I know it. I want to get on to the end. When it says, I
love
really
that
can't
part.
sing. I'm saying, you know that part?
That's the bridge, right?
It's, and then there's one more part where it says, "I fought many, many battles in his name. I held up the blood-stained banner and proclaimed that Jesus is the truth and the light. Believe it when I tell you, he will make it all right."
Just get your big magnifying glass.
A monocle. Flavors.
So the other one I have is Watermark. You guys know who that is?
It's in money, isn't it?
Knees to the earth. Wonderful Savior, my heart belongs to thee. I will remember always the blood you shed for me. Wonderful Savior, my heart will know your worth. So I will embrace you as I walk through this earth. Be blessed, be loved, be lifted high, be treasured, be glorified. I owe my life to you, my Lord. Here I am.
What's the name of that song?
Knees to the Earth by Watermark.
So
I'll text it to you.
I brought "Living Hope" by Phil Wickham. I absolutely love this song. It's one I've played a lot lately. And the part that gets me is, who could imagine so great a mercy? What heart could fathom such boundless grace? The God of ages stepped down from glory to wear my sin and bear my shame. The cross is spoken, I am forgiven. The King of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope.
Yeah, I don't know. That one seems pretty mainstream to me. It's like, that could be any Jesus Christ, any cross, any God. I mean, I think they need to get... No, I'm just kidding. That's
to
beautiful.
me, it just reminds me of Paul in the "To live is Christ, to die is gain."
Yeah, that's an awesome song.
To live, you get to be like Christ here on earth, but when you die, you actually get to be with Christ. So it's just, the whole song, it's all about the endless bounds of God's love and mercy. We'll never understand. We'll never truly understand until we get there and we talk to him personally.
Did we already ask for prayer requests tonight?
I didn't.
If you haven't put them in, go ahead and throw them in there if you have any prayer requests. The final thought we wanted to get to, and I will get to my song, but I wanted to close out with it. The final thought is we should be worshiping God in many different ways, not just with the manufactured highs of worship music. So our goal that we hope we got out was just to make sure that you seek true worship, that a real communion with God. Sometimes it's a song, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's a quiet moment, but just make sure that you're seeking that real communion with God to get out of the American cheese factory. So, I'm going to close out with instead of the quote tonight, I'm going to close out with the song that I brought. So we can go ahead and go to prayer.
You're going to sing?
I will. Yep. I'm going to wrap it, actually.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
He'll give you beats.
So guys, as usual, go ahead and put your prayer requests in. If I miss them before I pray, I will come back to them during the week. And I feel like I can't hear myself now. Like I just want to go. You guys hear me still?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I just lost my headphones. So Dave, what do you got this week?
Just for healing and family healing. A situation that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Crystal?
Clark.
The real Clark or
The imposter or the real one?
The real Clark Gregory.
And now I want a T-shirt that says, "Who is the real Clark Gregory?"
Yeah.
put pictures
Please
of both
stand
of
up.
those
Exactly.
benches.
With the real Clark Gregory, please stand up. That needs to be a Prodigal Sons T-shirt.
Hopefully the rest of the congregation is standing up.
Maybe our TikTok person can get him standing up in the pew.
Just screaming, "I am Clark Gregory."
Just go like a 6 foot step.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs a bit.
Or we could do a skit where like people randomly stand up across the
That's
congregation
probably
going,
what
"Hi."
happened.
Just
Tom
give away
ate too
those
much
name
vegetable
things. It
shortening.
says, "Hi, my name is Clark Gregory."
We all have it next week when Tom comes back. "Hi, my name is Clark Gregory."
And Clark can just have one that says, "Guess who?"
And we all know who you are, Clark.
You know what? For multiple reasons, I'm with Dave. Like family,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, Shawn, can I add one more?
Sure.
Teen camp starts on the 20th. We should really lift up the kids that are there to not have sloppy kisses songs.
And the kids were graduates.
Yeah.
For being in teen camp, that tends to be an issue. So I pray that they, because I'm not there this year, so I don't get to throw kids around. I don't know. My thoughts are scattered this week, so I'm just going to go unspoken.
But we hear you loud and clear, brother.
Sarah?
I just want to do a praise. I was able to go up to Maine. I was able to I have 3 sisters and my parents. We were all able to be together for the first time in 2 years. And that was so amazing. We got to celebrate. One of my sisters graduated college and turned 21. Another one just had a baby, and I got little nephew cuddles. And it was great. It's so nice to come back to family because I know I'm incredibly blessed and rare that I have this type of family. But I just want to thank God that we were safe and we were able to be together.
Do they have like pet moose up there?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Did we get any souvenirs?
His name Rocky.
She brought a moose.
Is his name Rocky?
I'll get a share.
Hey, Ricky.
Literally.
I made it through the school year.
Yay!
Is that a praise or is that a prayer request?
Praise.
That's a praise.
Yeah.
He made it through the school year.
Did you pass?
Of course he did.
Very,
Smart.
very proud of you.
You made
son.
it through.
Very proud of you for putting in the hard work at the end of the semester. Very proud.
That's awesome. Because I know you were concerned. I mean, that's awesome. You got through it. Tony Renee, you got anything this week? So we're going to go with the live studio audience this week.
Are they one person? Because you just said Tony Renee. Like,
Five
They
words or less.
usually combine. So I figured I'll make it an all-in-one instead of,
Usually throwing out the side of his arm.
What's that?
A lot of praise.
That's how growing out the side of his arm.
Friday was a surprise. Saturday was a surprise. Sunday was a surprise. A lot of praise. I mean, they got a lot of help. Thank you, gentlemen. Very shocked, but still, it helped me move and encouraged me to move forward. Got a lot done this week. And today I got a lot done. But that was because of all the help. And there's still chaos at the house, but
There will be for a long time.
Yeah.
After you move, there's always chaos for a long time.
Good time to sort that out.
really, I guess in a way, we're both very humble for the fellowship and the help, the support, and just to thank, well, like I said, praise, thanks for all that we get here. And Nona is definitely going to need a lot more of this church. I think she's going to finally break out and start becoming more of the person she should be. You know.
Yeah, I can make that. She's going next week, right?
Yeah, it's her first time at teen
Awesome.
camp.
And she's one of those kids going to teen camp, so I'm excited for her. We're praying for her, obviously.
you still don't want to go, son? Sure.
There's room on the bus, I heard.
There's the bus.
There's a seat left.
Tony will go and be a counselor for you if you want. That'll make you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't want me to cancel.
I get it. It's terrible.
No,
It's a lot of fun. I actually tore my calf muscle at teen camp doing a karaoke night.
Really?
Break dancing for money.
No, I was
Okay.
I was dancing around. I forgot I'm not 20 years old anymore.
Oh,
I tried
right.
to jump around like a rock star, and I came down on a jump I did and went, that's not good. And yep, I filleted
It's an
my
Old Testament
calf muscle.
offering.
Yeah, it was. Sacrificing myself.
Split a calf.
Yeah. It wasn't a burnt offering. It did burn though. It did. Bill, you got anything this week?
I'm very grateful for being able to walk. 2 strokes last year, not a good thing.
Wow.
And I spent the last 3 months of last year learning how to walk again. And I'm very grateful for all the blessings he's given me.
That's awesome.
I mean, you came in here with ease.
I would never have thought
pizza
that.
like a champ. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's what we love to see.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Glad you decided to come, Bill. Hopefully you're still glad to come that you came.
Absolutely.
You are? thought Dave might ruin it for you.
I was trying to.
We could stick it next to the coffee.
Pete's offset it.
Yeah, next to the coffee
Yeah, you
shop.
should start there.
Best seat in the house.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and go into prayer. Father God, as always, we just want to thank you for bringing us together again. I mean, who'd have thunk it? A year and a quarter ago, 4 goofballs getting together in a room, and here we are. You did something amazing, Lord, and we're just so thankful that you continue to bless it, bring us forward, and bring more people in. 'Cause that's what it's about, bringing us together, Lord. So we're just thankful for that. Lord, you know the situations going on in our families. Sometimes there's chaos, and sometimes there's division. But Lord, we ask that you would bring healing and peace to those situations, however they work out. Because our job is to love each other unconditionally, even when we don't understand each other. Sometimes our own pride and our own egos get in the way. We think we're bigger than the situation, or somebody else thinks they're bigger than the situation. Sometimes things get out of control, Lord. So bring us all back to center, bring us back in alignment with your heart and your mind, and allow those situations to be healed, allow those relationships to be mended, and move forward in a healthy way in you, Lord. Lord, for Clark Gregory, just be with him, Lord, heal him, bring him back. He truly loves you. He loves serving you and doing things for you, Lord. And even in the midst of what he's got going, he still praises you. So, Lord, he's faithful to you, and we know that if we're faithful to you, you are truly faithful to us, Lord. Lord, for our teens, and all the teens heading to teen camp after service on Sunday, Lord, just let it be a heart-changing experience, a mind-changing experience. Some of these teenagers are heading off into the world. Some of them still last chance. They're graduating this year and they'll be going off into the world. Lord, if you will, be the reminder, be the rock, be the anchor in their lives. Keep them in with you. And for those kids that are going because they don't really know you and it's something that their families are having them do just because it's something to do for the summer, Lord, introduce yourself. Don't just knock on the door to their hearts. Kick that thing in because you own it. Change their lives. I've seen you do it, Lord. So Lord, I just be with them. Keep them all safe. Let them have a good time. But let it mostly be centered around you, Lord. Lord, we have praise for Sarah made it to Maine and back. She didn't end up in a whale's mouth. And she was able to spend time with her family. I'm sure it was much needed. Getting everybody together is not easy in this crazy, chaotic world that we live in, Lord. So have an opportunity to get everybody together. I'm sure that pleases you, Lord. And thank you for blessing that. and making that a reality, bringing everybody safely and getting everybody home safely, Lord. For Little E, it's a rough road, you know. With your strength, your wisdom, the young man persevered and got through it, just like so many others would. So thank you for bringing him through. I'd like to pray for him going into next year, that he would have this time to mentally prepare, set his heart with you, Lord, and be ready to go into the next year, because hopefully next year we won't be dealing with in school, out of school, I don't know, running down the street, chasing bus. I don't know what we're doing, Lord, but hopefully we can make it simpler. For Tony and Rainey's transition, Lord, it's not always easy to pick up and move and change everything in your life. So Lord, we thank you for bringing a loving family around them, a church family that was willing to help and step up. Because that's what we're here for. That's why you brought us together. So that we can help each other. Not be divided, not criticize, not pick on each other, but to build each other up. Be a rock for each other to stand on. Lord, for our brother Bill, that you're bringing around. He's had a rough go of it medically, in his health, but you've been with him. You've helped him get through it. And every time I see him, he's doing just a little bit better, Lord. And I pray that we continue to see better results in Bill's life. Because he's a blessing to us and to this family. Lord, there are so many things in this world that I've seen recently that are not of you, not by you, and certainly not for you. And the enemy is working doubly hard to pull people away from you, especially our kids, Lord. Some of the things I've seen in some of these movies that are coming out, and music that's in the world, and videos, and it's not the world you planned, Father. It's not what your heart desires. Father, would you send a wake-up call? Because as your children, we are sleeping. We are sleeping on the advances of the enemy. It's time for us to rise up. The enemies are at the gates of Israel, Lord. Help us fend off the attacks of the enemy, Lord. Help us to find strength in you to put on your armor every single day. Lord, we can't just sit back anymore. We have to move. If we are the body, why are your hands not moving? Why are your words not teaching? Why are we not loving? Lord, remind us, awaken us, change us. Break the stone we've encased our own hearts in and put so hearts of flesh that would be compassionate and loving towards everybody in our path. Because we need to move for you. Not for our own gain, not for the gain of the world, but for you. Because, Lord, we are resting on our haunches and we're just watching the world pass us by. And we are not saving souls for you. Lord, if we're not moving, force us to move. I'm asking for it. I'm claiming that you would force us to move in the direction that you are asking us to go. Because sometimes we forget our way. And sometimes we forget that the narrow path is the path to you. And sometimes that wide path just looks so much easier. Turn us back to the narrow path, Lord. Remind us to leave the 99. Search for the one with all that we are and all that we have. Let us be more like you, less like us. Let our heart break for what breaks yours. Move us by your will. Father, we ask all these things in the precious name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
If you haven't done it yet, click like, click subscribe, share it with a friend, share it with an enemy, share it with a frenemy. I don't know. We're always available on your favorite podcast apps, all that good stuff. And if we haven't told you lately, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you for sharing. We've had a blast doing this over the last year plus, having a bunch of just being able to research some of these topics and go deeper into some of these things and talk about them and just be together is pretty cool. But we do want to challenge you today to find a true moment of worship. You know, just seek that out. Not the fake processed kind, not the pre-canned, easy to swallow kind, but real true worship. And this is one of my favorite songs I wanted to share with you in closing. It's by a worship artist named Jason Upton. If you haven't heard of him, that's because most people haven't. Because he's not trying to get on any charts. But this song is called In the Silence. And it goes, I'm tired of telling you you have me when I know you really don't. I'm tired of telling you I'll follow when I know I really won't. Because I'd rather stand here speechless with no great words to say if my silence is more truthful and my ears can hear how to walk in your way. In the silence you are speaking. In the quiet I can feel the fire. And it's burning, burning deeply, burning all that is that you desire to be silent in me. Oh Jesus, can you hear me? My soul is screaming out, and my broken will cries, teach me what your kingdom's all about. Unite my heart to fear you, to fear your holy name, and create a life of worship in the spirit and truth of your loving ways. Thanks, everybody. This has been episode number 65. We'll see you next week for more American Cheese Factory. Love you guys. See ya.
Say cheese.